episodes of the OK Drama podcast,
where two friends recap and break down K-dramas one episode at a time.
We are back with episode 7 of Descendants of the Sun, and we, again, ended on another big cliffhanger.
Yes, always, always.
So I'm excited to get right to the episode. We're going to start with the synopsis from Kokowa. It says, Shijin and Moyan are working hard to save people's lives at the disaster site. Shijin and Moyan face a crisis in the ruins that the earthquake created. ...
I like how it just leaves everybody else out that's also working tirelessly to save people.
The Kokowa guy was like, you know what? Basically, people are working hard. That's like all it really says.
Yeah. The Hulu synopsis is, at a rescue site where a momentary decision and choice means a matter of life and death, Shijin and Moyan face a crisis. What choices will they make? Will they be able to rescue everyone?
I love how Hulu is... They always have like these existential questions.
Yes. They really want you to think deeply before starting the episode.
We start episode 7 with Shijin tying Moyan's boots. And remember, at this point, they haven't spoken since he ghosted her when he went back to Korea for his dad. So at this point, he's letting her know that he was thinking about her, that he regrets leaving without seeing her, how he was hoping she wasn't hurt, and he tells her to take care of herself during this whole, as the synopsis said, like, disaster crisis situation. And this is where episode 6 ended, but in the episode 7 beginning, the I Love You song is playing really loud. Like, I think this is the loudest any song has ever been in the show, right? Like,
I would agree, yeah.
Anyway, I was just like, the moment is so beautiful, I said, I just want them to kiss.
Yeah, I noted that visually, it's a really beautiful scene. Like, it's very dark around them, but then there's also, like, this glowing, bright reddish orange color around them as well. It just looks really nice. The cinematography is very good there. Yeah. I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, the show, I think, is like the composition and just like everything looks so good.
Yeah, I agree. At this point, the disaster site has calmed down and now they're basically just looking for people inside of the rubble. And Richard is there and he's bothering Sada Young about digging near the office. He wants to get in the office where those fucking jewels are and shit, those diamonds. And they're basically telling him, like, no, dude, we can't. It's unstable. Shit can happen. This is not a good thing. You need to fucking get out of here. But it's still just like he's coming back and forth. And I'm getting so irritated at this point because he has zero authority to be there at this point. He's not hurt. He's not a soldier. He's not a fucking doctor or a nurse. Like, why are you there? If you can fucking walk and talk and you're okay, get out.
Yeah.
And I hate that they keep entertaining him. It's fucking pissing me off at this point.
I kind of want to be like, just like, detain him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You put Shijin in a shed for letting doctors operate on someone. Like, surely you can just handcuff or lock this guy up.
Especially somebody who's coming into this dangerous situation. Like, not only can he himself get hurt, but he can cause one of the soldiers to get hurt, one of the doctors or nurses, because he's just, his behavior is so absolutely ridiculous. And it's all just me. And it's fucking pissing me off.
Yeah. It's, again, hard to watch.
Yes.
At this point, also, the Alpha team is trying to find signs of survivors, and they get their little camera thing up in there, and they find people. Then we cut to Manager Go, who was like the construction site manager, and the impaled dude from last time. And again, this whole earthquake situation is really hard to watch at some points. And so the impaled guy just keeps saying, it hurts. In English, like that.
And he's just kind of like staring blankly. He can't move. Oh, God. Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like watching
and
that.
Then he says, it kind of seems like he learned Korean work phrases. So he just keeps saying, like, hurry, hurry in Korean. And then it hurts. And, it just, like, gives me the chills almost to look at it.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So the guys that are trapped above Manager Go and the local guy, they hear them talking beneath them. So I guess there's, like, levels. It almost seems like, I think, Manager Go and the local impaled guy got, like, taken down. Yeah. And then some sort of rubble or maybe, like, the basement or something got on top of them. So they're, like,
there's
levels.
A weird layering situation happening.
So the guys above them hear them, and they let the Alpha team know, like, hey, there are people down here, too, like, beneath us. So, again, Richard is butting in and telling the Alpha team soldiers that they need to forget about the trapped people because they probably won't be able to save them, and instead they should go to the office, basically saying, like, look, you guys aren't going to get in there. It's a lost cause. Like, just
help me.
Yeah. I think he says something along the lines of, like, they're basically already dead or something like that. He's, like, so fucked up.
Yeah, I can't with him.
So Shijin and Richard start exchanging words about who's actually in charge of the situation. Basically, Richard is saying, well, I'm the manager of the power plant, so I get to be here. Like, I'm in charge. And then Shijin's like, I'm the commander at the disaster site. That makes me in charge. And then he kicks him out and basically asks what bastard is letting him, like, come back.
And that's the moment where Shijin, as the main authority, should be like, fucking lock him up.
Yeah.
Get him out of here. Because obviously he's a problem.
Exactly. Ugh. So at this point, Shijin and Seo-young are trying to figure out how to basically make an opening for the Alpha Team soldiers to get to the trapped people. And they're doing kind of like shots of them working on things, like trying to figure out the best option. And they decide to use airbags, but fill them with water. And then they start pumping stuff up and they get started.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I've never actually thought about what a rescue team does in this situation. Like, they help people. Okay. But, like, what do they do? And so I don't know if that's, like, an actual thing that people do. They have, like, giant airbags and water-filled airbags. Like, I have no idea. It looked really cool and interesting. And, like, holy shit. Like, wow.
I know. Like, in the level of, I don't know, like, the thinking on your feet to be like, let's just put water in
and
them.
him saying, like, and then we'll go in and we'll reinforce it with beams. And we'll be, damn, okay. That's cool.
You are smart. You could have been a lawyer.
And at this point, on the other end with the medical staff, everything is kind of shit. Cars are broken down. There's only one that's working. They're having a hard time transporting patients to the Medicube. Phones are still down. They can't communicate with people. Kim Ki-bum comes and he gives them walkie-talkies and tells them that the amazing Dr. Daniel is trying to get into the Medicube to save a local from the village. So he hands Mo-yeon the walkie-talkie, and she's always pretty badass in these moments. Like, she has her shit together, even if she maybe doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
And she basically tells the guy who's in charge, like, you need to make sure the patient... Or she tells Dr. Daniel, you need to make sure that the patient lives so that he can sue you for malpractice. And she tells the other doctor, are you only going to treat patients after they've made an appointment? Because he's saying, like, Dr. Daniel can't come in here. He's not authorized, this and that. And he needs to do this. He's somebody who's trained to do this. Let him do his job.
And someone's, like, basically bleeding out in front
Yeah,
of
like, what do you... fucking help this person.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
I love how she, like, throws him the joke about malpractice.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think the other guy was saying something like... His reasoning was, you're not authorized, and if something happens, and they can sue you or whatever, and just like, I think the person would rather live.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's really cute, too, because since they're using the military channel on the walkie-talkies, Shijin can hear them, and he doesn't have, like, a big grin or anything on his face, but you can just, like, see him listening, and he looks kind of, like, pleased with himself, I guess, or with the whole situation.
Yeah, that she's handling shit. And...
But still, like, kind of, not upbeat, but taking it in stride.
Yeah, exactly.
So then again, fucking Richard comes by the Alpha team as they're blowing up the airbags to get in to save the trapped workers. And I said, honestly, he sucks.
Agreed.
So Shijin goes in because basically what they did is using the airbags, they like lifted up these like I'm assuming, concrete slabs. And so it made a little hole for them.
For a tiny person to go through.
So Shijin, being the tiniest, no, I'm just kidding. Shijin bravely goes crawling in, and the guys stabilize the entrance area. Again, I wrote, it's a good thing he's so small. So they save the trapped people on the first level, but those workers, again, let them know that Manager Go is still trapped underneath. So Moyeon... Okay, so that's one situation. Then we cut to Moyeon finding Myungju and the young nurse, and they're having trouble with a patient who needs emergency surgery. And so again, they're kind of saying, like, all the cars are broken, like, this guy needs to have surgery now. They can't fly him with the helicopter because he won't make it. So Moyeon suggests that they do surgery, like, at the site. And Myungju is kind of, like, freaking out, but they, like, you know, she's thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then Moyeon does this thing because basically the guy's heart stops.
Yeah.
And she, like, bangs on his chest with her fist.
A handful of times.
Yeah, like, basically punching him, but, like, not, I guess, with her knuckles, but with the heel or something of her fist. And she gets his heart to start again. And I was thinking, like, this is another Mythbusters thing that I'd like to...
Yeah, I have no clue if that fucking works or what that does. But those were some hard punches.
I know, I've seen in other movies or dramas or whatever when someone's like, come on, and, like, you know how, like, people are, like, just, like, come back, and, you know, then the person, like, springs back to life. So, I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a thing in movies if it... That sounds dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll probably Google that later.
Yeah.
Or someone can tell us.
My obsessive Google.
Myungju is also freaking out over the fact that they're about to do surgery on this man in this dirty, dusty area where it's totally unsafe and unsanitary to do so. And in my mind, I just, like, go back to ridiculous situations in, like, the Mr. Bean movie when the M&M, like, falls into the guy when he's getting surgery and he's, like, digging through trying to get the M&M. And then there's a Seinfeld episode that's very similar with, like, Junior Mints.
Where he's standing over
yeah, they're, like, all watching.
Oh my god.
So that's what came to my mind, just snacks falling into bodies. And this time it would just be dirt, but whatever.
Yeah, so bad. So, at this point, Kim Ki-bum is still going around giving people walkie-talkies, trying to be useful.
He's so cute.
I know. I think I wrote at some point, like, he's turned into such a good boy.
He's so helpful, and he just wants to, like...
He wants to be useful.
Yeah, he wants to please everybody.
And so, at one point... Oh, so he still has his arm in a sling because he
the refrigerator.
The refrigerator fell on him. So, he's a little bit clumsy because he's not used to, I guess, like, having a cast or whatever, and he knocks over stuff, and, I don't know, it's just kind of awkward and sad because the nurses are like, dude, like, get the fuck out of here, basically.
You're not gonna be helpful, leave.
Yeah. And I don't know why I wrote this here, but I said, I don't know the age difference, but I feel like there's chemistry between Kim Ki-bum and the young nurse. Like, the way they look at each other. I don't know if you remember when Ki-bum went to, like, say hi to Moyeon when she first got there. And the young nurse was there too. And she's like, wow, it's you again. And, like, whenever they're around each other, I feel like they both look happier. So maybe that was just some, like,
I could see that, definitely.
Off-screen chemistry.
They both seem very young, like around the same age.
Yeah, I'm just like, if she's already a nurse, she must be at least in her early 20s. And if he was like, I don't know
Who knows? Yeah.
Their love story isn't really important. Yeah. So this is just in my mind.
This is going to be some fanfic later.
Pretty much.
our mini eps. We can keep fanfic.
Oh my god. So then we cut to Lee Chi-hoon, the young doctor. He finds a woman whose leg is fucked, and I don't really understand what's wrong with her leg, but we just know it's not good because she is, like, wincing and she keeps kind of grabbing at her leg. And so, I mean, he's a doctor, so he knows what's wrong with it, but he keeps trying to give her a shot of, like, anesthesia to numb the leg so he can do whatever he needs to do. And she keeps, like, knocking it out of his hand or, like, pushing his hand away so that he won't give her the shot. And at first he thinks it's because, like, she's afraid of getting shots. And it frustrates me so much. So they're talking in their own languages. And I hate that, like, not being able to communicate. It just frustrates me so much. And so after a while, she, like, pulls out a picture of her ultrasound. And she's like, no, I have a baby. And he's like, oh, pregnant? But I wrote down, they keep saying the word baby in English. Or, like...
Yeah, she's saying, like, le baby.
Yeah.
Le baby. Le baby. Baby.
And I'm like, okay, Ji-hoon speaks English. How is he not understanding baby? Because then he says pregnant, like, in a pretty good accent. So, and then he, like, does the thing, like, where he's, like, miming around belly. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm like... How do you not understand she's saying baby?
At that point, he doesn't give her that anesthetic, and instead, it's some sort of, like, popping motion of her legs. I don't know if something, like, fell on her leg, or she fell, like, running away or something, but it seemed like something in her leg was broken, and all you hear is just a long, drawn-out, horrible cracking, and loud screaming, and it's fucking awful, and I can't imagine being in that position, in that amount of pain.
No.
Yeah, terrible. While that is happening, some British reporters come by and they want to interview people, and they run into Kim Ki-bum, who doesn't speak English. So he's trying to do his very best in helping them and trying to find somebody for them to talk to that does speak English. He tries to explain that he's a soldier, and he's miming being a soldier by, like, going pew, 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 like shooting a gun. And you noted, like, all he's done is cook. At least that's what we've seen, is just him cooking, like, tofu feasts and other cute things. Like, I have not seen him with a gun, so I don't know. But I guess in his imagination, that's what a soldier is. That's the soldier he is. But he tries to find Martin, the reporter, people to interview. He finds Nurse Ha, and Martin goes up to her, and she basically just yells at him, "I'm busy."
I love her face. I'm busy.
She just goes off, like, get the fuck away. Kim Ki-bum is also calling Martin an American, but he's British, or he at least sounds very British, which is cute. Dr. Song comes by, and he's telling him, like, oh, he's a doctor, he can talk to you, and he's telling him, like, this is a reporter, he wants to talk to somebody. And Dr. Song looks at him, and he just says, I'm not good at English, so I beg your pardon. It's like the clearest English ever, which is so funny. And then he hears on the radio that he's needed at the Medicube, so he jumps into their news van and tells Martin, like, take me to the hospital and I'll do an interview. Which is really, really great moment of him just being super badass.
I know.
And that guy Martin is just like, oh, what?
Yeah, he's like, hey. And he's like, okay.
I guess.
Yeah, I wrote pretty baller move for the Dr. Song. So Kim Ki-bum says, wow, cool. Looking, like, really impressed. And then Nurse Ha's still there. And she says, he's normally useless, but he's pretty useful as a doctor.
Like, I love them.
Yeah, I do too. So then Kim Ki-bum hears over the radio that someone is in need of AB blood. So he responds to the call. And at this point, Kim Ki-bum is having a really good episode. Like, he's very involved.
Yeah, he's in a lot of scenes.
I feel happy for him. Yehua, I think that's Yehua. She gets him hooked up. That's Dr. Daniel's wife/comrade. And basically he's supplying the guy that they're doing emergency surgery on with blood, because they don't have blood back there.
Yeah, and that's the one that Myung-ju and Mo-yeon are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Myung-ju and Mo-yeon are, like, getting ready to operate on this guy, and then at that time, Shijin finds Mo-yeon, and he tells her that he needs her. All these, like, pronouns. Yeah, he, she, whatever. Yeah. Basically, Shijin needs Mo-yeon. And it's urgent. And I think it's kind of sweet because she looks scared and asks if he's hurt. But, like, obviously he's not hurt because he came over and walked into you.
It's totally fine.
Yeah. But anyway, you can tell that, like, she cares about him. So he takes her to Manager Go, who is still not in great shape. He can't feel his legs. And when he tries to move his legs, nothing happens. But he's still really nice, and he tells her that he's not in pain anymore since he got to see her, which I was thinking about that, and old guys kind of creep me out. So I'm wondering, like the scene plays like he's a sweet dude.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was thinking, like, if you break it down, there's, like, a dude who's, like, being crushed, and he's like, oh, I'm not in pain anymore, because now you're
here and you're pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, ew. I don't know. There's so many moments in the show where I'm like, if I was in that situation, and if someone said that to me, I would be, like, creeped out.
And totally
like,
offended.
Yeah, like, dude, don't talk to me that way.
Yeah.
But in the show, it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, like...
I guess that's...
He's on the verge of dying, so...
Yeah.
Let him get his last good looks at a pretty lady.
I guess.
Well, he can't.
So anyway, they're talking about how he's happy she's there, basically. Mm-hmm. And then Mo-yeon asks Shijin when they'll be able to lift the concrete off of Manager Go. And then Shijin tells her that she needs to see something else. So then he takes her to the local guy that was impaled. And she starts treating him too. And she tells him that he needs to stay still because he's lucky that the metal missed his heart, but it could still hit his spine.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, he keeps asking if he's going to die, which...
This poor guy. This poor guy.
So awful. And this whole sequence with the local guy, Mo-yeon is speaking in English,
mm-hmm.
and she's... I guess the actress, Song Hye-kyo, is really good at English, I think. So, Mo-yeon tells Shijin that they need to cut the metal off to transport him to the OR, and then he looks, like, really serious, and he says that they need to talk, just the two of them. So, like I said, he's looking pretty somber, and he's explaining to her that the two sides are connected. So basically, if they raise the concrete off of the manager, it will also raise the iron frame, which will basically, like, fuck up the impaled guy. Ugh. And they show it.
They show it, yeah.
I hate it. Okay. But if they cut the frame off so that they can get the guy off, basically the balance of
gets
the
off.
load, and the concrete will then crush Manager Go. So it's really intense, and the gist is only one of them can survive. So according to emergency protocol, Mo-yeon, as the lead doctor, needs to make the choice on who to save, which is super shitty. Like, I could not deal with that. And then at this point, they do this, like, really gnarly split screen that shows both of the guys, like, side by side, both in pain, like, wincing. And at, like, right towards the end, you just hear, like, the impaled guy go, ee. Like, really in pain. It's so terrible.
Yeah, overall, I know we're, like, both kind of laughing. But I think that's more of, like, an uncomfortable, nervous laugh.
Yeah, it's definitely nervous laughter. Like, I'm not laughing at him being in pain. It's terrible.
Overall, it's really sad. It's really depressing. And I think this is one of the hardest episodes that we've had to watch. Just because you feel so bad for both people and the ultimate demise of one of them. And I just can't even imagine having to make that decision, having to be the person in charge of that. Like, I don't know how, as a person, you do that and feel okay with either decision, you know? Like, no matter what, somebody's gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, it's tough. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think at one point she's like, that's just not an option. Like, she tells Shijin, like, no, we need to try to save both of these people. Like, letting someone die is not an option, basically. And he's like, no.
In this situation, it is. Yeah, so he basically tells her that the rescue team will be ready in 10 minutes. And she tells him and Snoopy that she needs 10 minutes, too, to think about it. And Snoopy's being kind of mean with her again and saying, we don't have enough time. And Shijin just tells her, like, go ahead and take it. Make your decision. Do what you need to do. And then again, we have fucking Richard coming in, pestering Shijin. And you noted here that Shijin is being too patient with him, and I completely agree. I am so sick of him. I can't deal with him anymore. So Richard triggers Shijin to go into a patriotic speech, which we've heard quite a few times between mostly him and Mo-yeon, but he's basically telling him that he will work his hardest to protect people in danger, even if it is a jerk like Richard, and if the documents in the office are so important, then he can go dig them up himself. He hands him a shovel, and Richard kind of freaks out, and he's basically telling him, like, you made a big mistake, and blah, 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 blah. And at that point, intensity ensues, because a giant pipe falls down. Everybody starts freaking out. Shijin, being the fucking hero, like, grabs Richard and covers him. The pipe hits his back. And then it falls down. All the other soldiers are kind of freaked out. And then we see, like, commotion happening because there's a live wire at the bottom. And Shijin, thinking all fast, shoots this piece of concrete at the top and it falls on top of it, which is really intense. Like, first of all, what good fucking aim. Yeah. To be able to hit that, like, just, like, without even thinking about it. And then to know that it's going to land exactly where you need it to land. Really interesting. But he goes ahead and he asks Richard, like, are you okay? And he's kind of shocked, like, yeah, I'm fine. And as he's walking away to go and make sure that the soldiers are fine, Richard notices that Shijin is bleeding because the pipe hit him on, like, his back shoulder area. And I think that's a moment of Shijin showing, like, I'll help anyone. I'll protect anyone that needs it, no matter who the fuck you are, even if you're an annoying asshole. And I don't know what Richard is thinking at that point. Like, you would think that he'd be like, oh, what an awesome guy. Yeah. I should probably back the fuck off and let them do what they need to. Yeah. That's what you would think.
Because the look on Richard's face, like, he's pretty dumbfounded. But also, I kind of feel like he's thinking, okay, that was intense. Like, maybe I should leave.
Yeah, like, you almost fucking died.
Yeah. But
then, like, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Again, like, why is he in there? Like,
no, yeah, because he's, like, in the fucking cave part.
Yeah. Who the fuck let him in? That's another thing. Like, why isn't there anybody out there, like, patrolling that area? He shouldn't have been in there. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I guess maybe the only thing I can, like, think of is that it's so hectic, but
people aren't noticing.
Yeah, or he's telling people, like, I'm the manager of the plant, whatever. But at that point, like, he's in basically a fucking cave. Yeah. Like, it's one thing to be kind of roaming around the outside,
and this is an area that they've talked about as being, like, a danger zone. You know, like, obviously that fucking thing just fell out of nowhere. Like, it's not a safe environment. They're trying to work quickly. We don't want people that are safe and healthy and okay going back into danger when you don't know what you're doing. I hate it. Oh,
again, this episode is hard to watch.
It really is. It's definitely the most intense.
So then we cut back to Mo-yeon examining Manager Go again, and he's telling her that he kind of understands that only one of the two will make it out alive. And he seems like a really good dude. Like, he's talking about how he's thankful because he's gotten to lay down and look up at the sky for the past couple of days.
The camera pans to, like, the tiny bit of sky that he can see through all this concrete.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so sad.
It's really heartbreaking. But I guess with that conversation, like, you can kind of understand that he's at peace, because he also talks about how he's had the opportunity to, like, earn money and send his kids to college, so it kind of seems like he's at a good place in life, I guess. So then Mo-yeon goes to the impaled guy, who is miserable. Like, he keeps asking for more painkillers because it still hurts.
And he's so quiet,
I know. It hurts. Oh, and then he tells Mo-yeon that he hasn't moved one bit. I'm like, oh god, guy. And he keeps asking if he's gonna die. And I don't know how Mo-yeon can, like, keep her cool. Like, I'm so impressed with her in a lot of situations. Like, she's one of my new heroes. But she tells him that he can't have more painkillers because if he goes to surgery, like, he can't have those. Yeah. So, again, we're just kind of, like, laying more groundwork for the tough decision that Mo-yeon has to make. But then we cut back to Kim Ki-bum and Myung-ju doing the surgery. And Myung-ju tells Ki-bum that when the guy wakes up, to make sure that he buys Ki-bum a meal. Basically because, like, he's saving him. Yeah. And I love his reaction. So he says, quote, "Are you saying that I'm saving a person? May I brag to Sergeant First Class So?" And then Myung-ju's response is also great. She says, quote, "Wait your turn because I'm going to first."
Yeah, that's a really great moment. That's nice to see that
Uh-huh.
after all the sadness from the previous scene.
I think Byungju is low-key, like, really funny.
Absolutely.
Her comeback. Her and Dr. Song, like, sometimes they say stuff and you have to, like, think about it for a second and you're like, oh.
And they're also, like,
funny.
She's also very serious when she's saying it, too.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of like, wait, were you being funny or are you for real?
Yeah. So then we cut to Yewa basically forcing the reporters at the scene to give blood. And they talk to her like they've seen her before, like they know her name. And while she's doing what she's doing, they basically tell her that they want an interview with Dr. Daniel. And her English is pretty good, but her accent's a little intense. And again, I'm not saying it to be a jerk, but I just like the way she says, like, she enunciates things really interesting.
I noticed that as well. And I also noticed that British reporter pronounced it Uruk.
Uruk. Yeah.
Uruk. So now we know. It's not Uruk.
Uruk. Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Then we have another cut, and So Young is walking, I guess, trying to assess another situation, and he falls through the floor during the inspection, and Ki-bum freaks out because he can hear it over the walkie-talkie, and he, like, wants to, like, disconnect himself, like, take out the, not IV, I guess the needle for the blood, and, like, run over to help So Young. And then Myungju, like the boss she is, tells him to sit down unless he wants to kill a person. And yeah, so he, like, looks kind of bewildered and just, like, sits back down, like, oh, but again, he just loves So Young so much. So he looks conflicted, I guess. Like, but I want to go be with my guy. And Daeyoung ends up being fine, so it's cool. But Moyeon and Myungju are both, like, really strong women.
Yeah, under pressure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then Shijin goes up to Moyeon and asks her for her decision since the soldier's work has been wrapped up. And he kind of goes through her diagnosis of each patient with him. So she tells him, like, well, manager go. This will happen to him when we lift the thing up. The impaled guy, these are, all the risks involved, basically. And he tells her, like, okay, so what's your decision? Like, you've let me know your medical opinion, like, tell me what to do. So then she turns the question back on him, like, well, what do you think we should do? And at that point, he kind of, like, freaks out. Or not, he doesn't, like, throw a fit or anything, but he's like, no. Like, you don't get to ask me that question. I asked you that question because, like, according to emergency protocol, you're the doctor and you have to make that choice. And she says, like, you have more experience. I don't know if I'm making the best decision. And he goes on this whole thing about, like, what they're doing isn't best. It's just solving problems in front of them. And he tells her that she's doing well, but you can't whine. Like, you need to be a doctor and just, like, make a decision.
Yeah.
And so then they do this thing where she's like, okay, the order of, like, operation is this. And then we cut to the impaled guy being, like, rushed into the OR. And Dr. Song helps Dr. Kang, and they, like, suit up, basically.
Yeah.
And they start operating on him. And then we see manager go, like, basically in a body bag. Oh, it's so hard. It's, like, really sad.
Yeah, you see him and a handful of other bodies just all kind of lined up and blood everywhere. It's really sad. A lot of lives were lost, and they're still struggling to help people. Like, there's still a lot of people that could potentially die through this. It's really tough. And then they have the whole chalkboard with the number of injured and the number of dead, and it's a big mess. At this point, Dr. Daniel comes out of the OR and finds, how do I pronounce this? Yewa.
I think.
Okay. I'll go with that. He finds Yewa, and they fix a broken clock. And they've shown this clock on the ground broken earlier. I'm not sure what the significance of it is, why the clock was shown multiple times and why they're fixing it together. I don't know.
Maybe it's kind of like, this is the moment when, like, quote unquote time stopped and all of this trauma happened. it may be, like, the symbolism of him getting the clock working is, like,
it's
okay,
like,
now they can start
moving on. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, yeah. So the surgery that Myung-ju performed was a success. And then we cut to the jerky commander, the one who really just cares about moving up in his position. He comes to relieve the Alpha team and the other soldiers. And he has more people to kind of help out so everyone else can take a break because they've all been working nonstop. They haven't really been eating. They're all super tired. Sao Dae-young is giving eyes to Myung-ju in the car ride back to base. She's kind of looking off, very tired. And they're on opposite sides of the cart, and he's kind of just looking longingly at her. It's kind of sweet. Then we see Myung-ju's dad briefing Shijin's dad on the situation, and he's telling them everyone's safe. We're all doing okay. And Shijin's dad looks a little bit uncomfortable as like why he's there and what's going on. And her dad is basically telling him like he feels less scared about Myung-ju's safety knowing that Shijin is there. And his dad is just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, I think it's funny because Shijin's dad throughout the whole thing is like, basically saying, I'm good. Like, Myung-ju's dad was like, I just thought you'd want to know how your son is doing, basically. And I think Shijin's dad said something along the lines of, like, no news is good news, right? Like, something like that. And he just looks kind of uncomfortable being there. Yeah,
and he's basically just saying, like, he's a soldier. Like, he does what he needs to do. Like, his dad seems to understand, but Myung-ju's dad is, like, talking kind of weird and like talking almost like around things, like not really getting at what he's trying to say. And then he starts telling him that he cherishes Shijin and he thinks he can become a general one day. And his own dad is kind of just like, I don't think he can.
Yeah, like he's like, I don't know. He's kind of a troublemaker.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that was also him just kind of like, I don't know, again, uncomfortable in a situation like this other older man telling the father. I don't know, it's an interesting moment.
Yeah, because you can kind of tell, like, that I'm sure Shijin's dad knows that, like, Myung-ju's dad wants them to be married. And, like, in Korea, arranged marriages, or, like, semi-arranged marriages are still, I guess, kind of common. At least in dramas they are. So I'm assuming, like, that's what Myung-ju's dad is, like, kind of trying to do. But it kind of seems like Shijin's dad is like, okay, dude, like,
he's not really interested in that or what Shijin's relationship is with her or anyone else.
Yeah. Then we see the douchebag chairman. He's briefing the medical staff back in Korea and letting them know what the situation is and basically letting them know that everyone's safe. So Chi-hoon's fiance, his baby mama, is looking, like, really relieved because previously she was crying.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I would be too. Like, I would be really scared because they haven't been able to contact them since the phone lines have been down. And Chi-hoon's mom is there and she looks, you know, really sweet and is kind of, like, tending to her. They ask when the medical team can come back, and he tells them that they won't be able to fly back until the airport has been, quote, normalized, which I guess means, like, up and running again. So then Chi-hoon's mom goes after the chairman and tells him to get Chi-hoon on the phone so they can talk to him. And the chairman tells her, like, well, the phones aren't up yet, so the only way we can communicate is through a satellite phone on the base. And then so she yells at him and tells him that she contributed to the satellite, so she needs to be connected.
So this leads us to our say what moment.
What you say? Well, I'm just asking. Say what? Come on.
I want to know what that means.
Okay, so the subtitles translate it as hey, which is, like, pretty much what it is, but it's kind of a big deal that she yells, like, at the chairman because it's kind of seen as disrespectful. So, like, we've kind of talked about it before, but in Korea, respect is, like, a really big deal. And so even though she's older, like, he's a chairman, so his status as, like, a professional is kind of, like, high, and he's supposed to be kind of revered, I guess. And so for this lady to just be like, hey, you, like, it's really disrespectful.
Gotcha, okay.
But you'll, like, hear in other dramas or other things, people can just be like, yeah, like, stop. And that's kind of, like, more okay with friends.
Yeah, it's like if you and I did that.
Yeah, like, and then I also read, like, you know, you can say, like, yeah, like, hey, just, hey, you, or, like, what's up, kind of a thing. Basically, it means hey, but the way it's used in different situations.
Yeah, kind of, how you're saying it, basically.
Yeah, and the reason it's a big deal in this situation is because the mom is talking to a chairman, and you don't use that word when you're, like, speaking properly to people or people that are in, quote, like, a higher status than you. So this brings us to the characters kind of explaining this. So
I'll also say real quick with that's also, like, I don't know if Alex can vouch for this also, but it's also, like, a Hispanic thing that I've noticed. Like, stop.
Yeah.
You're not saying really hey, but you're kind of just like, it's like a haw. When Andrew makes fun of me for saying haw all the time. Yeah. But it's like, a lot of times, like my mom will say that when she's annoyed with something that I was doing, like when I was younger.
Alex's mom does that too. She'll just go like, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that's, like, another weird thing. Yeah. Okay.
So Mo-yeon's bestie is talking to Chi-hoon's fiance, and she says that she can't believe that her mother-in-law said yeah to the chairman. So at that point, Chi-hoon's fiance reveals that Chi-hoon's family is super fucking rich, and that the land that the hospital is on belongs to Chi-hoon. So then we can kind of see, like, okay, if we are doing, like, status things, Chi-hoon's mom is, like, of a higher status than the chairman, because she basically owns everything. Yeah. So she can't say yeah. So I love Mo-yeon's friend's reaction, because she kind of just, like, stops and looks up at Chi-hoon's fiance and is like, Madam, I hope I haven't done anything to upset you. And so, like, her calling her Madam is, like, a really high form of respect.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting that this didn't seem to come up in conversation ever. Like, the fact that Lee Chi-hoon is super rich and comes from, like, a really wealthy background. I thought that was interesting. And also, I guess, like, she's marrying into a good family. She's having the right kid, I guess.
Yeah, like, I think everyone kind of knew that Chi-hoon was, like, spoiled.
Yeah.
But, like, not.
They didn't know to what level. Yeah. And then at that point, we actually cut to Chi-hoon, who's distressed because of all the deaths that he's been encountering. And he's sitting outside, and then Dr. Song comes, and he has cigarettes ready. And he asks if he's okay, and Lee Chi-hoon asks for a cigarette, and Dr. Song has some of the best dialogue where he says, "What kind of doctor smokes? Quit."
With a cigarette.
Yeah, with a whole packet, actually. It's really funny. And I honestly feel like, though, in this situation, you and I would be Lee Chi-hoon.
Oh, yeah.
Complete fucking disasters, just not able to handle anything. Like, I wouldn't be able to fucking handle that job. No, I don't want to. I don't even want to imagine what those people go through.
Yeah, and I think, like, if you think back to Chi-hoon, even just eating dinner with the team, like, he's used to structure and order, and...
Yeah, he couldn't even handle sharing a bowl.
Yeah, so it seems like he's probably a really good doctor, like, when a patient comes in to see him, and, like, there's, you know, the structure, and he has time, but, like, the thinking
when you're thrown into chaos. Yeah, really bad. And at that point, the Metacube is still a fucking chaotic mess. And again, Richard is still a fucking asshole. I'm so sick of him. He finds his way into there, and he's being really combative to everyone. And he's demanding to see a doctor, even though there are people, like, wailing in pain all over that room. It's insane. He tells them that he's feeling dizzy. Since he's been standing outside all day, he needs an IV. I need vitamins, blah, 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 blah. And it's so frustrating. And he's talking to the nurse, and he's telling her, like, find a doctor, find a doctor. And he also says something that is going to be our next Say What candidate.
What you say? Well, I'm just asking. Say what?
Richard is, like, trying to lay down, he says, "Aigo." So, "Aigo" is basically an expression, kind of how our, like, Spanglish speakers say, "I." Like, "Aigo" is basically I, like, oh my god.
Gotcha.
Like,
Aigo.
Yeah. And so you can say, like, "Aigo," kind of like how he does, like, oh my god, like, I need to lay down, like, "Aigo."
Okay.
Or you can be like, "Aigo, you're so stupid," like, oh my god, you know, again, it's kind of like the tone, but I would kind of translate it to Spanish as, like, the like, why are you know?
I'm down with that phrase. Okay.
Yeah,
I could use that, like, on a daily basis, because I say I all the time.
No, you can add one.
Yeah, now I have a different form, different way of expressing myself. As he's saying all that stuff and annoying people, Nurse Ha comes in, and she gets on the radios. She's like, "Oh, okay, so you need vitamins. I'll get you someone." And she phones into the radios asking if there's any doctors who are bored enough and don't have anything to do so they can come and help this guy. Because he must be blind since he can't see the state of all of the other patients around him. And he gets so pissed off. It's this big thing between the two of them. And she's just kind of like, "Okay, fuck you, whatever. Goodbye. I have things to do." And she and the other nurse just kind of walk away. And then he's trying to, like, go towards them, but then more soldiers are coming with more poor, injured people. And so he can't get past them. It's a really frustrating, annoying moment.
Yeah, like, I like that Nurse Ha throws stuff back in his face. Like, he says something along the lines of, like, her talking informally to him, and she's like, "Well, you talked informally to me first." Yeah,
she is not afraid. Another woman who just doesn't fucking back down. I like that.
Yeah, me too. Oh, and then we also finally get to see, or I finally got to hear the young nurse's name. It's Nurse Choi.
Nurse Choi, yay! Hi, Nurse Choi.
Yeah, so now we can stop calling her a young nurse.
Nurse Choi. Okay.
Then we cut back to Dae-young and Shijin, and they're outside the, I guess, dining hall area, and they're trying to talk the logistics of food. And basically they don't have enough to feed everyone, because I guess they didn't prepare, like, enough rations for hundreds or whatever. Like,
for a disaster like
yeah,
this.
Pretty much. So then the Coyote Ugly bartender girl comes by in a big truck, and they have sandwiches, which I think look super good.
Yeah, they look like Subway sandwiches. They look like some tasty
wrapped
subs.
in foil.
Yeah.
And, like, they're just in a box, which I think is kind of interesting. But
and they're, like, half shown also, like, half open.
I guess just so we can know that they're sandwiches.
Yeah.
Also, like, why? Anyway.
Yeah, I was also thinking, like, only 3 boxes? But then they open them up and it feels like 1,000.
Yeah. So she says that they brought enough for 100 people for now. And Dae-young says that she's the best, again, all in English. And Shijin says that they will buy her 100 drinks, all on Sergeant So. And I'm like, classic Shijin. And then he tells Dae-young, like, "I got my pay cut, dude." And Dae-young's face is, like, the best during.
Yeah, he's giving him some side eye, like, what
the fuck? So then we see the soldiers sitting on the ground eating their sandwiches while, like, kind of massaging themselves and rubbing their feet.
I think this was another moment where Alex was like, ew.
Yeah. Again, my boyfriend has, like, a foot phobia. Like, he hates feet. And he's like, why are they touching their dirty feet while eating? Which they are. Like, they're dirty. Like, it's rough. But also, at that point, I'm like, they've had probably the hardest day of their lives so far.
Let them rub those feet.
Yeah. So Shijin addresses them and tells them that they'll be back at the site again tomorrow. So basically eat and go to sleep. Don't stay up and think about what they saw today. Just forget what happened and follow his commands. And then we see Dae-young washing up, and Myungju comes and helps him. Like, she pats him with a towel, and she asks if he came by his own will or if it was a command from her father. And he says he came because he knew that they needed the most capable soldiers, which is pretty much a non-answer. And she says that she doesn't like it when he takes her dad's side. And then she asks what he would have done if she had been hurt, and he tells her that he would have regretted all the times he walked away. And then he goes in and gives her, like, another great hug.
Yeah, and that's after she says something like, and you're just standing there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you feel this way, but you're just gonna stand there and look at me. Yeah. And then he, like, pulls her in real tight. Oh, chills.
I love
and
that.
It's such a long hug. Like, it's just, it's stuck on them forever. And I like when the camera, like, does different angles and, like, multiple times of him grabbing her. It was a nice hug and very, very satisfying. A nice moment.
Definitely.
At this point, Nurse Ha is manually sterilizing the equipment that they've been using. And Dr. Song comes, and he's very sweet in this moment. And he starts taking the tools and doing it for her. And she's like, no, this is my job. And he's like, no, I'm going to do this for you. It's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. And he starts reminding her, like, I told you, we should have run away the first time I said it. Like, here we are. We're in this fucking mess. Like, we should have just gone together. Mm-hmm. And then he's telling her that he wishes he had a wife and kids to use as an excuse to run off. And she basically says, like, he should have had them.
Like,
and
what have you been doing?
Yeah, like, why are you here now without any? Mm-hmm. And he kind of turns it back on her, saying, well, like, what about you? Mm-hmm. And she kind of just looks at him like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, he gives her a number, and I can't think of it right now. It's like 10 something.
I think it's 10:30.
Yeah, he's like 10:30. Say that. She's like 10:30. What about it? And he's like, that's the password to my computer. Go into my computer if I die and delete a file called Wildbird. And she's just like, what is it? And he doesn't tell her. And automatically she's like, you dirty, dirty man, delete it now. And he's like, no, not until I die. And he starts running away from her. It's this really funny and weird and kind of uncomfortable moment.
Because he's like, from 10s to 30s?
So ugly. I don't know, like, what on earth prompted him to tell her that. Such a weird moment, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, he's funny.
The medical team goes on their rounds, and we get to see all of the patients that they've been working on and kind of seeing how they're doing. Mo-Yan ends up seeing the guy who gave her his boots, and she kind of just walks up to him, takes off the boots and hands them back to him. She thanks him for it, and they have a nice, cute smile moment. Then she goes outside where they have, like, the list of names and everything, and they have candles and photos and stuff. She lights her little sponsored candle, and then Shijin she walks away, and Shijin just, like, perfectly walks on the other side of that chalkboard, and he's watching her.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, like, you don't see him at all. He's thinly hiding behind this chalkboard. Such a weird moment. It's almost like a Michael Myers Halloween moment.
Like, it's supposed to play, like, as sweet, I think. Yeah. Like, he's kind of watching over her, but I'm like, dude. And
it's dark, too. Yeah, he's like the shadowy figure.
Serial killer.
Yeah. But at that point, her back is turned to him. And she, like, oh, God, it flashes back to when she was first on the site. And you're seeing all of those workers doing their daily business. You see the pregnant woman. You see the manager. You see the sleepy guy. You're seeing the guy who was impaled. All these different people. And she's just thinking about her interaction with them, and then she just starts fucking breaking down. Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, I think this, like, is a callback to when she tells Shijin, like, I have a really good memory. Do you remember that? And she's like, so, like, don't do anything memorable or something.
Yeah.
And so I think this is us, like, seeing, like, her super good memory at work, because she can,
all
like,
these faces.
She takes it all in, and it's, like, all very personal to her. Yeah, it's really heartbreaking. So we see Mo-Yan, crying off to the side, and Shijin kind of looks like he wants to go up to her.
Yeah.
But then another soldier comes up to Shijin and asks if he needs anything else, and Shijin's like, no, I'm good. And then the soldier points out, like, hey, your shoulder's kind of fucked up. And Shijin asks, like, oh, can you take care of it for me? And then, like, he takes off his vest thing, and he's like, dude, you need stitches. Like, how are you, like, enduring all this?
Yeah.
And Shijin's like, oh, that makes sense. It really hurt. And then the guy tells Shijin, like, I think you need to go to, like, the medical tent or whatever. And so then Mo-Yan comes up, again, like, fucking creepy. And she comes up and is like, she says, like, I got this. Like, I'll help you. So then she's giving him stitches, and they're talking. And again, if you think about it, like, this is, besides her having to decide who to save, like, this is one of the first times they've been able to have a conversation, like, since he left.
And a conversation that's not necessarily about the disaster at hand.
Yeah.
It's just the two of them.
Mm-hmm. So she lets him know that she's okay, and he tells her that he's glad that she's there with him to fight, and she says, you too. So then he apologizes for being mean to her, which I don't even think he was that mean to her.
Yeah.
Like, he's been meaner before, and not apologized, but whatever. So he tells her that he wants her to be okay, and then they kind of have a back and forth because he basically is, like, trying to comfort her, and she's like, dude, I'm okay. Like, he's not really good at comforting her, I guess. And she tells him, like, you should do something you're good at, which is joking, like, make me laugh. And so he tries to do that, but I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. So then we get to what he really wants to say, which is that he really missed her, and that no matter what he did, he kept thinking of her. And then the You Are My Everything song plays, and we're at the end of the ep, and it's just like, go! This is what I've been waiting for. Like, I just want them to be together.
And they're not looking at each other either, because she's, like, stitching him.
Oh, yeah.
So he's, like, looking away, telling her how he feels and how much he missed her and stuff, and she's behind him, just listening to this, just kind of shocked.
But I think it's nice because obviously we'd seen, like, Moyeon really miss Shijin. And I mean, we had seen Shijin kind of miss Moyeon back in Korea, but we also saw him, like, actively trying to forget her.
Yeah.
And I like how he kind of, like, lays it all out again.
Yeah.
And is just vulnerable and like, no, I really missed you. Like, I can't stop thinking about you. It's so nice. So we don't really have any fashion moments because everyone is basically wearing the same outfits as last episode, except now they're bloody. So
bloody and torn and full of dirt. Yeah.
So for my I love you moment.
I love you.
I love you. I will always love you.
I love you.
It has to be the ending. Shijin is so serious. Like, I think in other moments, I think I love you moments, he kind of been not joking, but kind of
like cute and silly.
Yeah. Like being more charming. Whereas now he's like being super vulnerable and like, this is me.
This
These
is
are
how
my
I
feelings.
really feel.
Yeah. So.
All joking aside. Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. I would also say, as like a different type of I love you, I really like the moment where Saryang falls and both Kim Ki-bum and Myung-ju have this feeling of concern and then relief at the same time when they find out he's okay. And I thought that was an interesting moment of two forms of love for a person. Like, you have one boy who's in love with this guy, like looking up to him like a big brother, you know, and like he really cares about him, and then you have this girl who's completely in love with this man, you know? So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll give an honorable mention to Nurse Ha and Dr. Song.
Yes,
as
always. They're so cute.
They're great.
Great chemistry there.
Definitely. So, do you have any last thoughts, predictions, or things you're looking forward to for episode 8?
For episode 8, I hope to see that guy wake up. The one that they saved that was impaled. I want to see him, like, talking, maybe less in pain. And then I want to know if Richard will finally fuck off. Because I'm sick of him.
Yeah.
Those are my two big ones right now.
Definitely. So, at episode 8, we'll be halfway through the series.
Yay!
Which is pretty crazy. Exciting times.
It's been pretty intense so far. And I still don't know what's happening with the fucking, like, mob dude, the crime boss guy.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The show, I think it's interesting because it kind of, like, throws you a nugget of something.
Yeah.
And then it kind of is like, just think about that for a while. And then.
Yeah, and we have, like, 2 episodes here with this disaster going on. It makes you forget about that crime boss. And you're like, wait a minute. That guy's a thing. And what about Blackie? Is Blackie okay? Where's Blackie?
Yeah. Okay, so I guess that'll do it for us today. Please follow us on social media. We are at OKDramaPod on Twitter, OKDramaPodcast on Instagram, and we also made a Facebook page.
Woo!
So it's OK Drama Podcast on Facebook. And you can email us your corrections, thoughts, feelings, whatever questions at okdramapodcast@gmail.com. And watch episode 8. We watch it on Viki, but you can watch it on Hulu, Kokowa. I think you can get it on Amazon Prime, buying it. So whatever floats your boat. So watch episode 8, and we will talk to you next Monday.
Bye.